Today, I'm speaking with Tom Lyons, founder of Dashing Distribution Software. How are we doing, mate?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. It's been looking forward to this. It should be good.
Yeah, nice. Like I told you just a bit ago, I'm a little nervous because I haven't done one of these in a while, but, be back in the zone soon enough.
Well, we can both be nervous together.
I'm sure it'll be fine. So, mate, what inspired you to identify the market gap for Dashing Distribution Software, and what challenges did you face in its development?
Okay, well, we have to take it back a little bit. So we used to, in a distribution company, we used to use software that was founded out in Florida. And it was a bespoke piece of software. It was really good. Had its kinks and it had its problems, but it was kind of run by a one-man band. With looking back now, we should have done more research really as a company, but everyone else was using it. So we were like, it must be good, as you do, you sort of get on the bandwagon. That company kind of went into disarray when without going into too much detail, the owner basically got locked up. And it was a big surprise to everyone in the industry. So we said, listen, we're going to have to get away from this because it's not sustainable. We've still got the software, but let's have a look what else there is in the market. So we did a load of demos like you do, go around different companies. Right, we'll try this. This is good. If this is good, we'll go with this one. Demoed like 7 different programs. Came away feeling very underwhelmed, very kind of feeling like I would be going backwards if we spent money on software. So I said, right, you know what, I'm going to design my own. Dead easy. 6 months. It cost me 10 grand. No problem. Do it myself. Create this great piece of software. Anyway, 5 years later, £1.5 million in, we finally got to a place where we have a product. We're at market. And we have lots of happy customers, including myself. And we sort of made something that would fit the market and was plugging the gap that was needed. There's software out there, and there's some big names as well that we were using, that people are using. The problem is software these days, in my opinion, I'm quite an impatient person. Really, when it comes to, like, if a web page doesn't load in 10 seconds, I'm on to the next page. I feel it's broken, right? Because it's just the way people are now. Whether they like to admit it or not, people want things now. They want it quick. They want everything next day delivery. And if I'm using a piece of software that looks like it was designed in 1995 and it's slow and it doesn't look like you want to use it, I'm not interested. So I was like, you know what? I can't be the only one. Fingers crossed. And I just decided to make it myself. Yes, it took a lot longer and it was a lot more expensive than I thought it would be, as these things go. And that's really how it came about. And now we are basically taking new orders, new installs on a weekly basis. And the company's growing really well. And we're really happy with the way things have gone. So, it's been good.
I want to touch back on something you said a minute ago about sort of using yourself for customer feedback. Tell me a bit more about that.
Well, obviously, this was born out of a solution of we needed a software program for my distribution company, Express Electronics. So we got the kind of scraps, the first thing, the quotes, the invoice and all the rest of it. And my company had to test it. I'm forever grateful for my staff in my distribution company because they really worked the kinks out. I'm talking like, they were kind of like chiropractor kinks, we have to kind of crack the neck to get it fully back. They suffered with it, and they suffered with it because we had to get things right, and we were ultra critical of our own selves. And I told them, I told my sales manager, when you find something that isn't quite right, don't go, well, we can get around it. Tell us straight away and tell us you're not happy about it, and let's fix it. And let's make it as we want it to be. And that's what we did. And I'm forever grateful for that attitude. It was frustrating at times because this isn't working again. Because when you first build a piece of software, listen, anyone who says to you it's plain sailing from day one, when you're building something that's really intricate, that has to work with so many different principles, it's never plain sailing. And anyone who does it, I'll take my hat off to them. Well done. You got it right first time. Because we really didn't. We really got a lot of things wrong. And then we got a lot of things right. But it was all a process of getting it wrong to get it right. Simple as that. And I'm quite happy that we took that journey because I know if someone says, why does this do this? Well, I'll tell you why it does that, because we tried it this way and it didn't work. So now we do it this way. Oh, right, okay. You kind of have an explanation for everything, why things are the way they are. So that was, having our own company to test it was a huge, huge benefit for us. And again, it just made the whole process worthwhile, really.
I feel like I'm very much like you in one aspect of that. We offer a service, and I'm obsessed with ironing out the kinks, because I have this kind of fundamental belief that if you can get things as smooth as possible, well, then you can actually grow. You can really kind of put your attention into things that you should be doing, like how are your customers doing? What do they think? Yeah. Is it a similar thing for you?
Yes and no. I mean, I've had to grow to become patient with myself in a lot of different ways. I think that I didn't really realize it. It took our personal experience a long time. I had to get things ridiculously wrong at times to get them right. So I had to actually fail many times at things to actually say, you know what, this wasn't the right idea. There's a better way of doing this. And I think that when you're talking, using your analogy of saying, look, wanting things to run as smooth as possible, of course we all want that. But the fact that when things don't, and when things do get quiet, and when you kind of question what you're doing, the way that you overcome those things are what make your product and your service better, because you have to start thinking outside the box. Yeah, great. It'd be great if you had a queue of people at the door right now, literally like at Alton Towers saying, listen, you're the next podcast, whatever. And they were all like CEOs of big Fortune 500 companies. Yeah, it'd be great. But that would be almost far too easy. Like, who's paid them to come here and do that? You work your way to a point where you're speaking to small, medium company CEOs like me, and then you work your way up to the kind of Elon Musk. Yeah, that might sound a bit ridiculous. Elon Musk isn't going to come down to Essex and do an interview, but then why not? He's exactly the type of quirky guy who was in Yorkshire who decided to come and do a podcast with the guy because he's just that mental, he's just that crazy, and that's the kind of thing he wants to do. And why should you not put that target up there? Because it should be. You don't. Why not interview the next celebrity or whatever? Because the microphone and desk is no different to the microphone and desk in another podcast company. So in relation to what you're saying, I think that there should be, you've got realistic goals, of course, but I think there should be huge targets for a brand. And the way the markets are now, the way that the internet is now, the way that social media is now, any podcast can become the big podcast. Just needs the right engagement from the right people, and I genuinely believe that.
How does your software protect sensitive information, and what steps have you taken to ensure privacy and maintain trust?
All right, well, this is a big issue for us because we come from a distributed background. Effectively, our customers are competitors. They're not really, but that's the way they look at it. Yeah. We look at, our software was designed specifically to go, right, here's the software program and here's your data. Okay. The software program is what you use to navigate and do all your bits and pieces, your quotes, your invoices and all the rest of it, and manage your customers and all that kind of stuff. And that's fine. Only you have access to that. You log into it, it's done. And that's hosted. Your data, which is all your really sensitive information, like your orders, your customers and all that, is basically held on your own server. So they're completely separate entities, and it was designed specifically that way. So you look after your data in your own little hen house and you keep that nice and safe. And here's a software that utilizes that data, and only you have access to that. We'll maintain the software and we'll do updates and all the rest of it. And of course, you can invite us in to go and fix something or demonstrate something to one of the engineers if something's wrong. But effectively, that was the way that we designed it, so that your data is your data. We say it all the time. Listen, we're not interested in your data. Your data is your data. It's fine. Stick with it. Do what you want with it. That's totally up to you. But the software working is our job. We make sure that runs. And you can utilize that data through the software the way you need to do it.
How do you provide high quality customer service across different time zones, and how does this affect customer satisfaction?
It's a good question, actually. So we've got America-based staff because a lot of our customers are America-based, and that can be all the way from sort of New York all the way over to California. We've got guys that work till 10 p.m. on customer support. So if they call, we'll answer. If they Skype, we'll answer. If they send a ticket, we'll answer the ticket. We also have developers that work in them time zones as well. So we basically run all the way from Australia all the way through to America, and we have different people that work within the different time zones. So really, it's kind of seamless from their point of view. In fact, if you were to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and start asking a question from the States, you'd almost feel like it's a 24-hour service, because we're kind of always there within the working times of the markets that we work in. So I mean, listen, our company was, when we used to have storyboards. So when I designed the software, I made these big foam storyboards. Have you seen them? The big, So I got these storyboards, man. I'm not joking. I had like 200 of these storyboards. Right, and I had them everywhere. I could have wallpapered the walls of the office with these storyboards. I had them everywhere. And I was like, right, when I want this to work, I want it to work like that with that button there, and it does that. And that's actually how we designed the software. I designed it with storyboards saying, I want that to do that, and I want this to do that, and this has to do that. And then I scribble a big thing across, saying this would do this. And before we actually developed the actual program and we had these storyboards up, it was always, listen, it's service first. Some of our predecessing companies that are no longer here, and some of the other companies, the one thing we always get is that you can never get hold of them. They've designed something that's so robust and so great and all the rest of it. A, they're not interested in speaking to you on the phone because they get your money every month. And B, they don't develop the product any further. Well, the two things that I did before we even developed the program is that we're a customer service company first. So if you call, we'll answer and we'll deal with the problem as quick as we can. And there always are problems. That's something that you have to be completely at peace with before you start. And secondly, I think it's really, really important, if you're going to have that attitude of service, that you say, actually, we're not just fixing what we've got, we are continuously developing the product. And so that in 10 years' time, when we have got another 200-300 customers, that'll be great. And that's exactly where I think it's going. Having said that, that doesn't mean we're going to stop. We'll continuously improve the product. So every time you log in every week, there's a new update, does this now. Here's a video of how you use it. Great. Some people are interested in that. Some people just want something that works, and they don't people hate change. Trust me. But some people are like, there's a new feature. Show me how it works. What do we do? How can that improve my life? And they're your two different types of users, and both can accommodate in the system. So that's,
do you ever get like live feedback on that kind of stuff? Because we use certain bits of software, and it's like, right, I know for a fact every time I load it, it's going to be an update.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
But it can be a pain in the ass. I see some people within communities being like, oh my God, where's this button now? Oh, what am I going to do? Yeah. And what's the deal with that?
I think there's two different types of improvements when you update software. I think when you change something fundamental, you need to have a very good reason, and you need to justify that reason within what you're doing. And you need to have something visual that explains why that change is made and why it's an advantage, because you shouldn't be making changes to your software unless it's an advantage for everybody using it. Even though you're making something better, it doesn't mean everyone's going to like it. You can't please everybody. You just can't. However, people say, I really, really hate this new update. And then they go, I don't like it. And a week later, they've gone, I really like it now because, I've actually tried it. And you're like, okay, good. It's just the way people are. And there's nothing wrong with that because I'm exactly the same. When Apple do an update on my phone, I'm like, what are they changing now? And I'm like, well, why are you being such a hypocrite? You've just been, promoting your product that you've just created this new feature. I'm like, yeah, but my phone works really good the way it is. And I don't, and it's like, so I have to change my mindset in that actually I want this is going to improve my life because I'm on my phone all day. People are calling me, emailing, Skyping me about different things. And it's really important that you kind of change that mindset of actually this is an improvement. These are things to make my life better. And that's kind of the mindset I try and put people in as well.
So what inspires the change? Obviously said it's to make things better, but do you ever battle with that? Do you know what, people don't want this, or they're going to kick off?
Well, actually a really good example of that is if I say to a customer might come on and say, actually, you know what, would be really good if you had this feature that did this. The most difficult conversations we have with customers is say, we can't do that. We could do it, but we don't think it'll improve the product. And the reason is because of X, Y, and Z. We do get an awful lot of requests for many different things. We're talking about companies using complicated business practices across the world. You're talking about multi-currency, you're talking about multi-language, you're talking about different rules for tax, different certifications for different things, and you've got to accommodate everybody. it'd be really good if it did this. Well, yeah, we could build it for you, but it won't benefit everybody else because this works in a way that works for this way and this workflow. And that is something very, very difficult, something that you have to really sort of be tough on. Because it's great, we've always been, when we first started out, we were like, yeah, if they want this feature, we'll do it. Let's just please everybody. And I suppose we are still that way, really. And we do try and please people and we build things fast. But at the same time, we also have to make sure that the benefits are for everybody, because it's a shared system and we have to make sure everybody gets the benefits from that. So, yeah, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, just depends what it is.
That's something I've never had to think about doing what I do because, I have a handful of clients, relatively speaking, compared to what you do. And it's like, I can just have conversations with people. What do you need me to change for you? Not a problem. I've always wondered what the deal is. Like, I mean, even like, politicians and whatnot, it's like I have to make decisions for so many people. And obviously on a smaller scale, you're making decisions for hundreds, thousands.
Yeah, I mean, there is usually the good thing is that it's usually one or two people in an organization you'll speak to who will speak for everybody else. So it's not like you're getting inundated with different requests. So you kind of you're kind of on a level with people where you're speaking to somebody who understands the way something should work and they understand the workflow of it. So that from that point of view, the individuals we do deal with are actually very receptive to what we do, and on the whole. They like the updates and the way that we do things and the way that we develop. We're developing a new product at the moment that's going to be completely change the look of the application, but it's going to work in exactly the same way, just going to be faster. So that's something that we've had to that we'll have to navigate as we go, and we'll have to explain how things are going to look different but work the same. And even those changes are big for everybody, and nobody likes change. They just don't.
How have your AI features helped clients improve efficiency and grow their operations?
So we designed a kind of version of ChatGPT 4, but we used several disciplines from different areas. So we feed information from different places from our catalogue and library. However, we present it through ChatGPT so it can take the information and present it in a way that's useful to the client. So, for example, in the electronic components industry, it's not the most glamorous industry in the world. You might be taking like, look, our customers asked for this part, we can't find any. Is there an alternative? Go to the Ask Dashing icon, click on the part number, alternatives, put the part number in, ask it, and it'll give you the alternatives. Or I need a data sheet. You used to traditionally go on Google or alldatasheet.com, wherever it was, type in it, find the right data sheet, just tap it in the system you're in, and it'll provide the data sheet. You can download it, send it to your customer with your quote, and you're done. So we've sped up the whole process of that kind of manual, I'm looking for this. I mean, if you really want to, you've got a microphone on, you can just tell it, I need a data sheet for this part number that's on screen. Can you provide it to me and confirm it's the correct part number for this manufacturer? And they'll get it. It comes up on screen, sent to your customer. And I think that we've had such good feedback from our Ask Dashing section, because the companies that do use it and use it to its fullest capabilities, and we're talking about a screen with like 15 tiles that all do different things. Even Genius Marketing, write your business emails for you, all related to the electronic components industry. The customers that do use it are always like, yeah, what's the is there another feature going on there? Is there, how is this expanding? Yeah, we'll put another tile on there next week. It does this. And they're like, oh yeah, cool. Can't wait to try it out. So I really like that element of what we did, and that we decided to go down the AI route so early. This has been in there for a year, which I suppose now looking at all the AI stuff's coming out, you think, well, you weren't really early. Actually, about a year ago, that was pretty early for AI, even to be mainstream. It's only in the last, I'd say, 6 months that people have really started to accept AI. I think there was this big kind of standoff. I'm not touching it. A robot's going to kill me.
I was gonna jump in with that. Like I the more people I speak to just in day-to-day life, where it's like, 6 months ago, a year ago, people are like, AI, oh my God, it's going to kill us all. It's like, actually, all it's doing is, making my life easier.
Efficiency. I think with AI, listen, if we're going to go down the kind of moral route, everyone has to be careful with it. Is it going to be part of our lives for the next 50 years? Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
If you want to ignore it for the next 10 and pretend it's not there and slow your life down, that's totally up to you. However, if you're not going to embrace AI and you're not going to use it correctly and to its full capabilities within reason for your business and for your clients, then really you're just cutting yourself off from the rest of the world. I've got my own feelings on AI. I think it's great. I think there is a danger element to it, and I always think there will be. But is it here to stay? Yes. Is it the biggest thing since the internet? In my opinion, yeah. I think it totally is. I think it's probably going to replace a lot of aspects of the internet because of its what we spoke about earlier, which is the ease and the speed. Everyone wants anything now. I can go on Google and type I want this and I'll find the right answer and all the rest of it. I just want to ask somebody and give me the answer. And I hate that about myself, but I do. I just really do. I just want to go, I want that answer. Please give me it, and it's done. And if you're not going to embrace that within your business, then I think you will fall behind. I really do. Whether you like it or not, you don't have to like AI, but you do need to recognize its presence and look at, is this going to be something that I don't need to ignore and something that needs to be part of my business going forward? And are my competitors doing that? Or are they doing it already? Because you'll fall behind really quickly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we love it. I mean, we've spoken to so many people who use it, people who, create all sorts of products with it. But for us, it's just sped us the hell up, massively. Yeah. Even simple things that you wouldn't really think about. So, for example, when people want transcripts of a podcast, cool. There's software that does it now.
Yeah.
People used to have to do that manually. That's insane. Yeah. But not just that. The way people speak versus the way they write things don't match up one for one. Not even nearly. So when you're doing, let's say, captions on something, you can feed it into ChatGPT and be like, can you just correct the punctuation on this, please? Yeah. And it will. And that is a monumental job.
Well, you can even say to it, listen, can you do this? Can you speak like I'm from Yorkshire? Can you speak like I'm from Liverpool? And it'll do it. It's crazy. There's a funny story about AI. And my son, listen, this is a totally side issue we're talking about. It's something that I really kind of feel strongly about. So my son's like 13. And he's at school and he does really well. He gets up every morning, he trains, he's really into his sport and everything. He trains every morning, gets himself up. I don't have to wake him up. He gets on school, doesn't like school. He gets up and he does it, he doesn't like it, right? And he gets his homework. And this is, I think it's about a few months ago, I don't remember how long ago. And I need to write this newspaper article on the Titanic. I was like,
I love Titanic.
Yeah. I was like, okay. And he's like, can I just watch the film? I'm like, well, you can watch the film if you want, but it's like 3.5 hours and you only have to write a small article, and it's just a headline article for this newspaper. Something you do at school. Yeah.
In future, I'll do it for him. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll give him your details. So I said, okay, just go up and Google it and just get some key information about the thing and then put it in the news article and write it. I know you don't want to do it. Just get it done. Come on. It's something you have to do. So it comes down. It's been like 8 minutes. I'm like, okay, come on, let's have a look then. It shows me this article, and this article's shit hot, right? It looks like it's been written by somebody who writes a newspaper at the time, right, with all the language and everything. And I'm like, you haven't written this. And he's like, yeah, no, I didn't say I did. I'm like, but I've done it. I'm like, okay, so where'd you get this off Google? And he's like, I got it off ChatGPT. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I know you haven't written this, and your teacher's going to know you've written this. So he goes back upstairs, goes back to ChatGPT, please rewrite this as a 13-year-old would. And it writes it for him, right? So he comes down with his article and I'm like, yeah, all right, fair enough.
I've literally done that with emails. So I'll get it to do like mundane things sometimes, like, can write this email. I'll just bash it out with my own words. Like, can you rewrite this as though I'm not a dipshit sort of thing? And and then it's like, no, I'm a bit more of a dipshit than that. Yeah. Like, find the happy medium sort of thing.
Well, I think the thing is now, that as funny as that was, and I do encourage him to do his homework and all the rest of it because I want him to learn. But there's also another element to this, is that when we talk about AI and we're talking about the future, is him learning how to write a newspaper article going to benefit him when he's 22, right?
Or is it going to be more beneficial to learn how to utilize the tools at his disposal?
So if I say to him, rather than say, well, I need to go back and write that like you would yourself, and say, right, do you know what? You found a way around the problem and you use the tools that are available to you right now. That means way more to me than him being able to sit down and write something on a piece of paper. Right? I know he can do that. He can do it. But the world we live in now means he has to find a way around it, because somebody else who's competing with for that job, or somebody else is going to be competing on if he runs his own business, is going to be doing the same thing. So being able to find a solution to a problem is far more advantageous for me than saying, can you go and write down what all your other students are writing down about the Titanic? Yeah, it sank. All right, cool. And these many people died. And although it's a tragedy, of course it was, yeah. However, he's found a way around the problem, which is just like his mind has just gone, actually, you know what? I'd rather be doing this so I can do this by using this and do that. And that's the way the world's working now. It just is. I don't sit down and go, right, I'm going to try and write this this Word document. I'm going to spend 2 hours on it. I don't have 2 hours. I do have 20 minutes to write down all the key points that I want to say in this article or this letter or whatever, and then put it into whatever AI I'm using, or pass it on to somebody who's going to use that for that anyway, because that's the way we are, and that's the way the world is working. And that, for me, when you come down to the education system, then you get this. And I could talk all day about university and all the rest of it. I never went to university, didn't want to go to university. I just wanted to make some money. I said to mum and dad, "Let's go to uni if you want." I'm like, "I don't want to go to uni. I want to start working." So I got a job and I started working and worked my way up through companies, and I wanted to earn cash, and I did. And don't regret it for a second. Listen, people want to go to university. You have a great laugh. Do it. It's great. But if you go in there on the premise of just furthering your career, unless you're going to be a doctor or something that, is a skill set you need to do for, or law, but then we could argue that AI is taking over the law kind of thing, I think that you have to make the right decision for you and what you want to do. And not necessarily if I'm going to go to uni because that's what people do. I just don't think there's a benefit for it anymore. It's just my personal opinion.
No, I agree. I was talking to someone the other day about business plans, actually, because he'd done a LinkedIn post about, how do I use a business plan? I was like, you know what? I started a business by accident. I was just doing something that I liked, and then people said, can you do that for me? Sure, you charge them. And then I got to a certain age, I was like, I should probably be a bit more professional. But then, I went down that rabbit hole, and it's all just a load of shit, and kind of people just trying to sound like they know what they're talking about so they can sell you something.
Well, if you've got a directive of what you want to do with your business and where you want it to go, that's a business plan in itself.
Yeah,
it should be soon because it's around finance and all the rest of it, and you can always ask people for that, and you can always speak to people about how you're going to fund things and all the rest of it, and you have to make sure you pay the bills and all the rest of it. But if you're the business owner and you have a directive of where you want your business to go, well, stick with it. That's your business plan is in your head, and it should always be in your head. And if you could write a business plan down today, and by next week it'll have changed. And to be honest with you, you might do that to secure finance, you might do it for whatever, but as long as you have that business plan in your head of what you want to do, then that's your starting point. And that business plan should always be changing, and it'll, whether you like it or not, it probably will.
That's the thing that happens with us, like our North Star, and you can get so in the weeds of things, but I do eventually always have to go back to, right, what are we trying to do here? Oh yeah, make money. Right, what do we do? Yeah. All right, we sell shit. What do we sell?
Yeah.
Right, who to?
Yeah.
Right, and you have to go back to, you have to go back to those absolute fundamentals.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
Quite often.
100%. Because there's so many distractions around that. It's really good. We did this and this guy thought it was great. Did he pay you for it? Well, no, but okay. Well, then, because that's, and there's nothing wrong with that. Listen, you do a lot of favors for a lot of people, and eventually that will pay off if you do it in the right way, and, you build your reputation for it. It shouldn't be the reason you do it, in my opinion. You should do things because, you're building your brand up for people and your reputation, all the rest of it. But eventually, if someone appreciates what you've done for them and they know it's come at cost, whatever that may be, time, sweat equity, whatever, then that should really, circle all the way around, in my opinion. People have done favors for me in business 20 years ago. I still remember who they are. And when I'm still dealing with them, I'm like, it's fine, we'll do that for nothing. Because I remember when there was a time when we did that, So I think and I think that when you have a business plan, you need to be ever adapting it. That's why I wouldn't write one down and say, this is it. This is the business plan. This is what we have to, this is our letter of the law. Because it's going to change. The way the world's moving now, and the way that, look at podcasts, the way they're moving. You could probably do a podcast with an AI robot if you really wanted to.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And there will be someone probably doing it, with a bot. And there'll be a feature on it, and people will be interested to see what kind of responses they get. So effectively, there's a market there for that. So that's when I say things are changing all the time. They are, and you have to adapt.
What led you to offer a flexible 30-day licensing model, and how has it benefited your customers?
The companies that we are in competition with, or the companies that previously were in the market, in the software market, used to tie people into contracts. Some 12, some 24, 48-month contracts, I don't know. We sort of said, well, why really? If your product's good, your service is good, people will stay with what you're doing. And if they are going to leave you, then they have a good reason for it. So give them flexible licensing. If somebody leaves your company say you've got 10 people in your company, say you've got 50 people in your company, and someone leaves. Happens all the time. I've decided to go and sell plants. Great. Okay, so they've left. This 48-month contract we took out for that person, well, they've left the company now. So can we have only back for the license? No, sorry, you signed a 48-month contract. So that license is now going to sit there unused for the next however many years if we don't hire somebody else in that role. Yeah, okay. So we're like, right, you 30-day rolling contract. So if you want to leave, we'll package everything up for you and we'll send you on your way so you can move to the next software company. No hard feelings. But it also means you can do that and you've got control. So we're not saying, right, by the way, we're going to convince you to use this software, but we're going to tie you in for 5 years with a really good price. No, actually, take it on. If you like it, pay for your license next month. Great, because it's adding quality and value to your business.
Have you done both? Have you tied people to contracts before and found when you compare the two, you actually make more money ultimately because you're giving people that freedom?
No, but we were tied into contracts as a user. So I was tied into a contract. I'm like, I've got to do another 12 months of this company. Because, listen, nobody wants to move software, right? Anyone who does is lying. Nobody wants to move software. It's a pain in the ass, right? Always will be, right? I've done it twice, right? And even as my own company doing it, right? It was a pain, complete pain, big headache. What you have to identify is that when you move companies to software, that you make it as easy as possible. You take out all the known areas that are going to cause problems and you take it out. On-site training, make sure everyone's happy in the company. You're happy using the software, you understand how it works and you're comfortable using it. And that benefits us. And when we walk away, we know they're happy. They're not going to inundate us with tickets because they know how to use it. So that's all part of the kind of the satisfaction they have with the product. If it also puts pressure on us to make sure that we're offering the customer satisfaction. So if we say every 30 days they have an opportunity to leave what we're doing, right? Well, that keeps us on our toes as well. Well, it's fine. They're tied in for 48 months. Don't worry about them. We can deal with them when we want. Never wanted to ever get into that attitude set. Every customer is important, from the smallest to the biggest. And we have to make sure that emphasis of what we're talking about and that attitude is filtered down through the entire company, which is why having the right team around you is so important. They have to buy into what you're doing, especially when you do a startup company. Everyone has to buy into what you're doing. Every single person. If there's one person who says, you know what, this isn't going to work, right? They're not the right person to be in your business. They're just not. And you can be honest with them about that. You don't believe in what we're doing here, do you? No. Okay, well, you know what? I don't think we can go any further, because they have to believe in what you're doing. Because it isn't about money. It is about believing in a project and everyone achieving that project together. And if you don't do that and you don't have that right kind of synergy within your business, then it ain't going to work with that particular person, I don't think. And it can be toxic and corrosive from the inside out, because then they start bleeding that kind of attitude onto other people. And then suddenly, before you know it, everyone's like, what are we even doing here? So I think it's really, really important to have the people around you as well, on the back of that. And that all feeds into the 30-day licenses. And it's just a 30-day license, but the fact that it keeps us on our toes and what we're doing is really important as well. And it gives the customer freedom to say, actually, I'm not tied into this. If I decide to take the software on in 6 months' time, it's not right for us, I know I can get out without having financial penalties. Yeah, you can. That's the way you want it to be. And it should be that way, in my opinion.
That cycle and balance always fascinated me, because obviously if you're a company, you have to make money, particularly if you are a for-profit company. Yeah. So, and when you've got money, you have opportunity, you have resources to, again, create a better service or product. So, but then you get in that mindset of like, right, so focus on making money. But then it's like, you also have to take that leap of faith where, no, we'll focus on the product, focus on the service, because then people will like it more. And you'll make more money. And that balance has always fascinated me.
Yeah, I think if your product is going to continuously develop, and you want your product to grow and you want people to be receptive to that, and it's, if we've got a customer that's using the product and they speak to another competitor and say, by the way, what software do you use? I've seen your print off and your order and it looks really cool. I like that. It's really clean and crisp and it looks, we use this company Dashing. What do you think of them? Well, they're constantly developing the product. If we have a problem, we call them and they sort it out. And, they're cool guys. We have a good laugh with them, All right, I'll give them a call. Yeah, speak to Simon or speak to whoever and they'll set you up with a demo and you can have a look around the system. All right, cool. Now, word of mouth is massive. I don't care what business you're in, word of mouth is huge. Whether it's a product you're selling in retail, word of mouth is social media. It's just on heat, in my opinion. If you look at influencers, that is word of mouth at its pinnacle, right? Whether they mean to say it or not, whether they're being paid to do it, you give an influencer a product that looks cool and it does that, and they're saying it's the best thing since sliced bread. Yeah, they fly off the shelves, and they're back ordered in companies, small little businesses that have launched this product because they paid an influencer to do it. Because these people on social media trust this influencer that this is the best product, and they're presenting it in a really good way, and that's how that is word of mouth on heat. Right? There's sales and marketing. Sales is where you go out and you find the product and you get it. Marketing is where the product comes, the business comes to you. I've seen them in two different ways, and it kind of got to decide which side of the fence you're on with that side of things, I think.
I couldn't agree more. Funnily enough, I posted this on LinkedIn yesterday, and it was talking about, like, I've met a good few millionaires. I'm friends with a good few millionaires, actually, and they don't know jack shit about marketing. They are in fact, the people I know have made the most money, they're really just damn good at making friends with the right people.
Personal relationships.
Yeah, and it's 100%. Like you say, but marketeers and whatnot will say, oh, you can't really control referrals. Well, you can, like you just said.
Yeah.
You can incentivize people or even get people to truly believe in your product and be promoting it, the right people.
I mean, I was recently I was in Dubai a few months ago, and I spoke to a load of CEOs from big firms. It was this fantastic trip. It was I got invited to go on it by a guy called Michael Mater, who I'll put you in touch with actually for a podcast, because this guy knows everyone. He's unbelievably great guy to talk to, just so interesting. He knows so many things. He's done so much. And the one thing that I kind of got from all the CEOs out there, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, is that they didn't really know too much about too much. And when I say that, they kind of knew that they didn't really need to understand marketing themselves. They had somebody who did, or they had a team that understood that more. And as long as they could deliver the results on that, they had divisions and people that were doing that kind of, that responsive marketing, or that new changing that marketing strategy. Because these companies are so big and they're making so much cash, they're just they're in this kind of, well, we can risk this marketing budget on that product, or we can risk this marketing budget in trying that and seeing if it works. So I completely understand that. There's a lot of CEOs who probably don't know a lot about a lot, really. They just know about personal relationships, and, there's a lot of CEOs that I know that actually don't do an awful lot, but when the shit is the fan, they've got to sort it out. And that's probably the way it should be as well.
Yeah, they can keep cool.
Yeah, sometimes.
Love it, mate. Final thing. What customer feedback or emerging trends are you focusing on for your next upgrade?
So I think one of the things that when we built version 1 was still in the market now that we use, and we're really, really happy with the outcome, what we got from that. One thing we wanted to do, like I mentioned earlier, was progress. And we wanted to freshen things up. We wanted it to be faster. Product's pretty fast anyway, but we want it to be like lightning quick, and it's called dashing, so it kind of had that kind of speed element to it as well. We wanted to basically rip apart the script and redesign the entire product in the same way again. So the product's the same, it uses the same method of business logic, but we actually started it from the ground up again. Which I can tell you was a really, really difficult decision to make, a very expensive one. But without the investment, you will fall behind. And I'd be a hypocrite if I said, listen, I've got this product now, it's in the market, let's just tie down the boats now and just be happy with what we've got for now. That is not what we're going to do. And I'm already assembling the team for version 3. And version 2 is not finished. It'll be finished in 2 months' time. I've already seen it. It's on my desktop, and I've been playing around with it, and it's cool, and it's fast, and I love it. And I really think it's going to be great. But we have a version 3, which is being in development now, which will start the minute version 2 launches. And that will be another progression from there. And when I say we are investing every penny we make, I mean it. We forward invest everything we make back into making the product better. And I can personally vouch for that.
Yeah, my brother hates me for it, but we're the same.
Yeah, I think that I think if you want to stand still and enjoy your success, I'm all for it. Go for it. But that's not what we're doing. That's not who we are. There'll come a point where we slow down a bit on what we're doing, but we'll always progress. always progressing software, because if you don't, you will turn around 10 years have gone by and your software looks like Windows 95 or Windows 98 or whatever, or something that actually is not resembles something that people are used to seeing now. Even web pages now are becoming so unbelievably interactive. I mean, your iPhone is so powerful. You could run a software application on that. Everything's progressing so quick, and you have to be progressing all the time. And that's one thing that we are doing, and our customers have vouched for. And it's when it comes to referrals for that, when you talk about people saying, look, version 2 is coming out, what do you think? Well, go and ask our customers. I'm not going to my customers and say, by the way, can you see our product's really good? Because, we've got a good relationship. No, just answer the question honestly. Tell them what you think of it. And if you don't like the product, or you think there's things that can be improved, tell them. But tell us as well, so we can, make those improvements as well. And that's all. And that type of feedback we get has all gone into the development of version 2, which is what we said, well, actually, you know what? This is such a big change. We're not going to do this now. We're going to put it into the new version, and we're going to build it from the ground up, and we'll integrate it in what you're talking about, rather than trying to fix something or change something that's already in the version 1. So yeah, the way that we've designed it on a different platform, the way that we've created the way that visuals come up and the speed of everything, I'm really excited about it. It's going to be good.
Tom, it's been a pleasure. Thank you
Absolutely.
very much.
Thanks for having me on, and I look forward to the next one.